Good evening. So, about 15 minutes I'm going to spend time with you, and I'm going to talk about a very key topic. I will take some cues from the previous panel. I left being a formal CFO in 2012, it's about 13 years now. For the last 13 years, I run CFO Bridge. And we came out of, having formal authority. We came out of the boxes. And, we are more consulting, we are fractional, part-time. We're just wondering, how do we actually get things done? We have no tool left. There is no thick line coming in. There is no ex officio. So we got to get things done. So that's when we realized that we have other tools which are probably more powerful and they can help you collaborate really well. And I'm going to talk about them, and we will spend a little bit of time on this. We'll go through this fairly fast. So a lot of stuff is going to come to you a little bit fast. So I I want to trade this 15 minutes with you. I want to have an agreement so that, I want your undivided attention. I will definitely leave you with a little bit of thoughts you can take back and then implement. Yeah. So finance function is now horizontal. We saw even the previous panel talking about it. It's no longer vertical. It used to be called as a vertical. It's no longer vertical. It's a horizontal. Why is it a horizontal? Because there are quite a few finance functions is actually embedded as part of most of the other functions. When I used to be in AXA, that was about 13 years ago, we used to have a finance guy as part of the sales, we used to have a finance guy as part of the marketing, and we used to have even a finance guy as part of the HR. And they were all called, and we actually sacrificed the thick lines, and we said that, look, it doesn't matter, it is a little bit fuzzy, maybe two guys make a performance appraisal, but that's okay. Can we have people sitting right across them? And what happens because of that, the truth that we are talking about, the dashboards that we are talking about happens to be a single source of truth, and there is no debate around that. And then instead of reporting variances, it's about shaping decisions, because you are getting involved right up front with them. And then, more rather than focusing on cost and expenses, it's about focusing on value. So a horizontal approach is what we saw. I also rather recommend, and I think it's more or less now given. And just a couple of quotes. So finance must be in the room when decision is made, not after it. That's one of my take, and that's the horizontal mandate. So I would think that I will call the CFO the new collaborative finance officer. I mean, there are so many things. People used to call CFO even as the chief fund officer or chief fire officer. But, collaborative finance officer is another new one I want to put forward today. So I believe that that's about the first one. Let me move on to the next one. Is about, the value builder. I did talk about finance plus marketing, finance plus product. How can we actually embed and get things done even ahead of time? I remember there was a brief time when marketing was reporting into me. And then we launched a campaign. We said that, we will pay your claims. When I was in AXA, we will pay your claims in 72 hours time. If not, we will pay 1% interest per day. There's a little bit of a finance and marketing together. We worked on it, and we could see that was one of the most creative campaign. It went on to bag a lot of awards, and it gave quite a bit of brand salience to the brand. So we could see how finance and marketing and HR product working ahead of time rather than later to see how value can be created. So that's why I'm saying, if you want to build value, if you want to be the custodian of value, you got to be working with them ahead of the decision that comes in. And then have a low friction ritual regime. We will, we did talk about it. When people come to you for allocation of capital, how do you allocate it? And they are looking for, and you are trying to, stick to your rule engine. And that could always lead to a friction. And if you stay focused on how can we have a low friction ritual, that can actually help you. So, and I am also reiterating, collaboration is not about nicer meetings. It's about getting better unit economics. So that will kind of launch us a little bit into collaboration. And, and we talked about breaking the thick lines. Traditional approach you have seen, collaborative approach is what I presented, and then that leads to better outcomes. So this is the summary of collaboration. I just really want to move into more, how do we actually collaborate going forward? So this is one concept that I want to really place with you. I would say shift from power. The power comes from the thick lines that flows in the organization. Trade your power confidently for influence. Influence, I will think that it's a lot more sustainable, more long-lasting tool that you have got. You got to acquire influence, and influence doesn't come to you. Influence comes over a period of time. Power comes immediately, right? As soon as you go and occupy the chair, you get power. And influence is a crazy thing. It flows two ways. So you got to be, if you want to influence somebody, please be very clear in your mind, you also be ready to be influenced. So if you are open and if you are willing to have two-way influence, influence works, and it works really beautifully. And, it's built through insights and wisdom, and, it comes over a period of time by consistency. We all accountants, we love consistency, right? In our books of accounts also, we love consistency. It's a concept, and we need to be consistent as well. It's not for accounts, it's also for the accountants. And empathy for colleagues and willing to be influenced as well. And making them winners, really making, the people who are coming to you for advice, making them win, because when they come to you, they are looking for something. And what is it that they are looking for? How can we make them look absolutely real winners is a very, very key thing. How you will be able to actually start influencing. And once you got that influence, it's real power. It transcends organization, it transcends thick lines, it transcends everything else. That's something that I have personally experienced. And this is the second, point that I want to do. Why do we get into this situation? Is because when people come to you for capital allocation, as Mayur was talking about, they bring to you stories and emotion. As finance guy, we are trained to look at. It's not that we are completely devoid of emotion, but our basic training is into data analysis and being rational about it. And normally the stories and emotions come to the table from the sales team or the marketing team, and a lot of creativity comes there. And this is essentially what actually creates the friction on the table. And then finance, I'm recommending that finance should become bilingual. You create numbers for the board and narratives for the business. And there's a lot of talk these days saying that the CFO has to become a storyteller. And, a lot of story is getting told to us, and how we are able to actually balance that is a very important thing. And, so influence requires not just understanding of the logic of a decision, but the emotions driving it. And if you are able to get that, I'm just trying to link with the same line of thought of influence. You got to understand where the conflict comes. Conflict comes because logic or rational, more number-based approach competing with emotions and stories. And that's very key to understand for that. And then this is a very interesting thing. Sometime back, I was actually wondering, I actually wrote an article in LinkedIn. I said, no is actually an answer. And statistically speaking, 50% of your answer has to be no. So when I was in life insurance industry, which is very heavily regulated, and I was there in the very fairly early stages. So it was not very clear what decisions that you can take, because it is evolving at a very rapid pace. So when I went with options, I was the chief compliance officer, people will always ask me, what do I do in this situation? Do you give them a yes as an answer or a no as an answer? Then I realized that there is probably a third answer, which is yes, but. So, if you can practice yes, but, that will actually give you a lot of the answer. So, say, how do we do that? Yes, but not now, or yes, if we adjust X. So, people prefer yes as an answer, but you want to give no as an answer. We got to find a middle ground. So, I practiced giving them, it is a yes, provided you take care of these risk factors provided you take care of these compliance factors. And then it makes them accountable. It makes them to go back and think through that. And sometimes then maybe if they come back, actually they are willing to accept no as an answer. No doesn't create a friction. So we got to go. No has to be given. It's not that, no is not a good answer. No is a very good answer. And we need to know how to give. More often than not. In fact, one of the feedback that came to me is, Srini, I don't mind your no, but I have a problem with the way you tell me the no. More often than not, it's the emotion, it's how you actually say the no. People talk about it. So, very, very important building block for building collaboration on top. The goal is not to say yes to everything, but to frame the decision the way that keeps the energy and trust intact. So then I want to also to introduce you, probably you know this, but when it comes to allocation of resources and allocation of scarce resources like capital, it leads to a lot of friction once again. So I want to introduce you to the age of age. I'm going to give you two ages. One is a leverage and second is an arbitrage. And I'm not talking about the traditional definition. And leverage basically means small input and large output. And just to give you an example, I'm a Rajinikanth fan. Recently, I saw a latest movie of Rajinikanth called Coolie. And for no reason, I found Amir Khan appearing there in that movie. I was wondering. Then I thought this is a good example for leverage. You have a Tamil actor producing a Tamil movie, you put Amir Khan, and then you have access to the whole of the North Indian markets. Just to give you an example of what could be a leverage. So, there can be a lot of leverages, fixed cost leverages, small fixed costs, AI automation can give you beautiful leverage, and talent leverages. You just standardize certain SOP, then you can, people can even change. That can give you an SOP leverage. Arbitrage is really very one. I really loved when Mayur said, my suppliers are my partners. I said, look beyond L1. One of the biggest thing that actually kind of clouds us, makes us a little bit blind in that sense, is the desire to look for an L1. I think there is absolutely a beautiful life beyond L1. A lot of value lives beyond L1. And just see who is your L2 and why is he an L2? What is he bringing? Is there a possibility that we can actually do? Significant leverages I have found by talking to them, and energy prices, cloud prices gives you so much of leverage. And then, so I would say there is a whole lot of things you can do a research on what is leverage and what is arbitrage, which can actually give you how to collaborate with the people when they are coming in, how to avoid conflicts. That's why I introduced this particular thing. So, I'm just conscious of time. So I just want to, this is my last slide. And where I want to really, this is something that I quite like, and I have made it as my personal motto as well. It's another mindset shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And sometimes, we CFOs, we tend to think that resources are scarce and it doesn't really work. And within a you don't have more. So we start limiting things. But there is a mindset. Your budgets may be scarce, budgets may be limited, but a mindset could as well be that, there is abundant stuff. I used to work in oil and gas prior to insurance industry. We used to think only so much of oil is there. But I can tell you every year we are definitely discovering a lot more oil than what we are actually spending. And it is now 40, 50 years, the world has got more oil yet to be discovered. So, there's abundant stuff that is given to all of us in creation. So, scarcity thinking is not about there is not enough, only top performers win, I must protect my share. Whereas an abundant thinking could tell you resources can be created. Opportunities multiplied through collaboration. We never thought that AI will actually come and help us. We are able to do a lot of things very, very quickly these days. And human potential is expandable using AI, and trust unlocks value. So, if you have, and imagine there's another thing, simple tool that I'm saying is give everybody a grade. Don't, think that they are A grade. Let them prove that they are not a grade. So trust them. That actually will unleash their potential, and don't take yourself too seriously. And humor invites a lot of openness. So I really had to run past. This is just a summary what we talked about to just to get you. Influence is the real power. I just want to, you to know that these are the books that I have read. Simple book by Dale Carnegie. It's some 150 rupees. It's available. I would say you buy this book, enough number, and just give it to everybody else because you want to influence two-way. And there is a beautiful book by Harvard Business Review. And this third book is the most important book, Shane Parrish book on great mental models. It helps you clarify a lot of things. I hope I try to influence you, collaborate with you, and get you some tools so that you can do your job better. Thank you so much.